Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? Happy to be here with you today. Yes, this is the final week of Halloween treats, but I think you're going to enjoy the last 7 projects that I have for you. I'm very excited in a way to be at the end of the road. It's a lot of brain power that goes into trying to figure out what to make for these 28 days and shopping for candy and all the good stuff. But that being said, I've had a ball. Today we are going to make a Lollipop treat cover for our caramel apple pops, okay? I'm going to show you how to make that, and it's very quick and easy and fun. We're using the Tricks and Treats stamp set and dies. Love them. And you guys know I love my shapes. I use them all the time. And the nested essentials. I use the second largest of this pennant or banner. All right, so let's go ahead and move this stuff out of the way. And we're gonna get started. All right. So we're gonna start with a piece of 3.5 inch by 6.5 inch of Granny Apple Green. I went with the green because, of course, our caramel apple pop is green. And we are gonna score on the short side first. I normally score on the long side first, but not today. All right, so for the short side, you're gonna score at 1/2 of an inch and 3 inches, which is actually half from each side. So I'm just gonna rotate completely around to the other side and do the half, just so that I know I have the exact same side measurements. Okay, now we're gonna turn to the long side, and we are gonna score the long side at 3 inches and at 3.5 inches. And that's all the score marks, 2 on each side. All right, so we're gonna grab our bone folder, of course, and give it a burnish on all the score lines. I like to do this because I like to make sure that my box or cover or whatever treat bag, whatever it is nice and scored, and that the score marks are indented firmly into my paper. Now you guys know I use a thick bladed scissor whenever I do all my cutting. I use my paper snips for fussy cutting, but I think there's a place for everything. So we're gonna cut on both sides of the outer part of the score line, and then I'm gonna miter this so that cuts the inner score line, okay? So let me pull those. There's those two. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So cut on the outside of that score line, and then we're gonna miter cut okay, that's as easy as it gets. Let me put it down so you guys can take a screenshot if you would like. Pretty simple. All right, so before we glue it together, I'm gonna show you the back. The back has some little bats onto the back of it. So let me figure out which I'm gonna use for the back by just kind of putting it together and making sure that it is nice and solid and fits. Let me try the other way. I never know which side I want to be the front or back until I actually make it happen. I think I'm gonna make this the back, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and do some stamping. So we're gonna use our Memento Tuxedo black ink and our bat. We've got to ink it up really good, make sure it's nice and dark. Sometimes I rub on the ink pad and then pat, just to make sure that it gets nice and dark. We're gonna put a set of bats there. This time I'm gonna turn them this direction. I didn't last time, but I am this time. And we're gonna put a set right there. So that's 2 sets, okay? Now on the front, we also have a set of bats, which I'm gonna be stamping on just a scrap piece of basic white. So while we have the bat stamp out, let's go ahead and stamp those onto our basic white. Those are going to be fussy cut. Okay, let me clean my bat stamp because we're done with it. All right, now we also need to stamp in the Memento Black our Trick or Treat. So let me grab that. I'm gonna also give that a rub and then stamp it. And I'm gonna bring it down a little so I can see what I'm doing, but I'm just basically stamping it on a scrap, and this is Highland Heather. Perfect. Clean that one off. All right, and my vampire little guy, I have already stamped him, but I want to show you how I go about stamping him. So I'm going to grab a scrap piece of not cardstock, copy paper. You guys know I have copy paper everywhere. All right. So what you want to do when you're doing your little vampire is you want to ink up his hair first. And you just want to make sure that you get it completely nice and dark. And you're going to stamp it onto your scrap paper, whatever that may be. Okay? Just like that. I'm going to show you the die. So then in here you have this die that cuts out our little guy. Okay, so I like to lay that over the top of the hair after I have stamped it. All right, and then this is how I get the facial placement. So I just lay the die over the top, and then I'm gonna bring this down a little so I can see what I'm doing. And then I position the face to fit where I think it looks best. So I'm gonna go right about there. Make sure his nose is even with the little widow's peak that he has on his forehead. So right there, okay? Then you can take it and cut it out. Now I did this on a Highland Heather scrap, and then I die cut it out. And once I did that, that's how I got my little Dracula. Okay? And he's so cute and precious. All right, I just wanted to show you how to do that because I already had him die cut out, so I didn't have to die cut him on the video. But I did want to show you how the process worked for me anyway. Come on. All right. Now, let's get our basic black Stampin' Blends. Okay, I'm gonna put this stuff to the side temporarily. We're gonna do all of the hard part first, then we're gonna do the easy part, get it put together. So this is a piece of basic white cardstock that's 2 1/4 by 2 3/4, and I'm gonna use the brush end of my Stampin' Blend. And all I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take, and it doesn't matter if it's straight, you see how it's crooked? Sometimes I'm straight, sometimes I'm crooked, it doesn't matter. It's my paper and no one's gonna say, why isn't that straight? No one's gonna know. If I wanted it super straight, I would have used a ruler. All right, and let's put our last piece. I'm gonna put a smidge here just because it should have a little darkness there if it was normal. All right. So there is that. I'm actually going to anchor this side as well. I'm going to put a smidge of black right along that edge. Okay. We're done with our Stampin' Blend. Now on the same scrap paper, I'm going to take my Highland Heather ink pad and my large or normal size blending brush. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little off, and then we're going to come on here and we're going to blend our cardstock. And this is how I turned my background into what you see on my back there on my card. on my box, I mean. My little treat cover, Halloween treat cover. All right, so again, I always start off the paper and blend on. And then when I have enough purple that I'm happy, I'm gonna stop, but I'm not quite there yet. Almost. All right. So that is how I got my background. All right, let's move that out of the way. So we're starting to have all of our little parts and pieces. I'm gonna bring my silicone mat in. Let's go ahead and fussy cut our bats and our trick or treat. So we are going to just bring our, I do each word separate, and I like to do the long part first because to me that's the hardest part to get straight. This short part is a lot easier. So I do the long part first and take my time, and then I can be quicker. So there's trick. Now I'm gonna do treat because it's a long word and it's much simpler for me. So I'm gonna do this one next, and then we'll do or last. And I just try and look at the tops of the word and do my best to line that up. So we have trick, we have treat. Now we're left with or. So all I'm gonna do here is cut the short sides, and I'm gonna leave the long the way they were left. So there is or, okay? So let's get rid of these little pieces, and then we'll work on fussy cutting our bat. Well, if I can pick them up, I'm trying to do too much at once, I think. All right. So I fussy cut each bat out separate, and it's hard. So I'm gonna do the smaller ones first and then the big one because I'll have more to hold on to when I'm cutting. If I fussy cut the big one, I won't have as much paper. So when I'm fussy cutting, I like to move my paper, not my scissor. You see how I'm pivoting the paper to match my strokes of my scissor, and I'm only sliding my scissor when I feel like I need to. I'm gonna hold on a little bit right there. I'm gonna come straight down with the tip and then kind of go around and do this bottom section of the bat. There's that one. Okay, let's do the other little one next because we will still have plenty to hold on to. Okay, we're almost done with our little bat here. Okay. You still end up having to hold on to your piece, so just be aware. Almost done. I'm going to use the tips because I'm very close to that point, and then little by little I'm going to pivot my paper. And there's the littlest one. That one was the hardest to cut out. Now this is a breeze after doing those small ones, and I have the whole piece to hold on to, which I like. Okay. And since this bat is the biggest, it's a lot easier to fussy cut out. Because see how I can hold it with my fingers? That's why I saved it for last. It's the one that I can do the best job on. All right. Now they're done. I'm gonna move them off to the side. All right. Little by little, it's all coming together. All right, we're gonna do the little eyes on my Dracula. So I have my Boo. That's die cut out. I have punched 2 basic white circles out of a 3/8 inch circle punch. That's Stampin' Up. And then 2 black circles out of a 1/4 inch Stampin' Up circle punch. They no longer sell these punches, but you can easily get them. I will link them in the video below so that you can find them. All right, so this is the second largest out of basic black. Now we have all of our parts and pieces and we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and get our little count done. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm just going to add a little bit of wet adhesive to the big, well, they're not very big, the eyeball portion of his eyes. I almost made them lavender, but I decided to make them black because I wanted them to pop against the lavender face or the Highland Heather face. So when I attach the eye in there, what I want to do is leave a little bit just on one side, and on the top I want to have a lot more white. So see how there's a lot more white at the top and less at the bottom? So that's how I want to do these. Okay, so small amount at the bottom, more at the top, and we're gonna let that dry for a second. And then we're gonna bring our little guy in, and I'm gonna flip these over. I'm gonna put wet adhesive on the backs of those. All right. And now we're gonna do the eyes. Now, the part that has the smallest amount of white, I'm kind of putting it angled towards the corner of the mouth, okay? And I want his eyebrows to show, but I don't want there to be as much room as there is above the black dot. So I want the eyeball kind of like right up on that eyebrow, like that. I'm gonna bring it up to the camera so you guys can see, okay? Let's do the other side. It already has the adhesive, so the same thing. I want the part with the smallest amount of white angled toward that side of the mouth, like that, because I don't want him to look crazy. I want him to look cute, and I want to put his eye right up to the eyebrow. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Not bad, not bad. All right, I'm gonna let that dry for a minute. And then we're going to use a white gel pen. You can use any white gel pen you want. I will link one in the description below in case you don't have one. But let's start putting our box together while we let the eyes dry. Okay, so all we're going to do first is add some adhesive on the two tabs. And I'm going to glue them to the back of the box first, okay? So I'm just gonna slowly hold on to that and get that to grab on that end. And once I know that it's nice, we'll do the other side. Push the tab down and bring the back of the box to it. Make sure it's nice and squared. I want to hold it, make sure if there's any glue oozing that I get that with my fingers. I can always rub it off or use a baby wipe or whatever. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to glue the front of the box. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and add our faux DSP or handmade DSP, whatever you want to call it. All right. So that's gonna go on the front. So cute. It's easier to glue things on when it's flat, okay? And then I'm also gonna glue the word boo onto the bottom. And then we'll glue our little box closed. It's way too much, I think, glue on here. All right. When you have too much glue, you're gonna grab your tweezers and you're gonna take your piece to the corner of your mat and you're gonna deposit that extra glue, okay? And then here I'm gonna kind of angle this a little in the corner. Like that. All right, so now we have our boo. And now we can close our sides. So when we close the sides, I want to use the wet adhesive on our tabs, which are these long flaps. because they're going to glue over the other ones that are already there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to the box, and then one at a time, I'm going to hold those pieces and slide them in, okay? And I want to make sure that this is even, okay? And I'm going to use my bone folder to press that into place. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to put it together first, make sure it's even. You can push your finger in there, but then use your bone folder to really press it. Nice. Okay. If you have any stray pieces, the paper snips are the best for that, but we're good right now, okay? So that's what we have. All right, let's do the back first, and I'm gonna use a baby wipe for my fingers. I always have baby wipe next to me, so I'm gonna use that for my fingers. And then I'm gonna pick up that extra glue that I put on my silicone mat with it, and into the trash it goes. All right. So on our trick or treat, we're gonna put 2 dimensionals on each of the bigger words because they fit, and a mini on the word or. And then for our banner, I'm gonna put 4 like that. Okay. And then I need on the side of the face, oh, you can see I did it before. All right, we're gonna put 2 of these like that. Fun. All right, let's start with my take your pick tool and pull all these backs off, and then we'll glue them down. We'll be ready to go. All right. Trick, let's flip this over so you can see. I did trick, or treat. And put your fingers in there and make sure that you push your dimensionals down against your finger inside your pointer finger. That's the back. Time to work on the front. All right, so let's pull the backs off of, I feel like I'm all over the place with this mat. All right, we're gonna pull those off, and let's pull the ones off on our little Dracula. All right, perfect. And now we're going to angle. Sorry for about my phone. I thought I had silenced it. Apparently not. Notifications. Stick our hand in there. Put those down. All right. Now on this side here, I'm going to put some wet glue because that's going to be attached to that little banner, but the other side is going to be lifted up the same as the banner. It doesn't have anything to glue to, so that's why I put the dimensionals on that side. So I'm going to angle his little face. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. All right, I'm gonna press those down and then press with my fingers to glue him to that piece right here, okay? And now we're gonna add our white gel pen to the eyes. I try and take a little bit at a time and add, because less is more. I don't want it to be too big. And then we're gonna, I would shake the white gel pen. For some reason, I think it helps it to flow better. And then there's that one. And there's the little dots in the eyes. Makes him come to life. He's so cute. All right, and the last step is to put wet adhesive on our bats. So we're gonna put some here, if it's flowing, which it isn't. All right, I got it now, I think. Put some on this, and on this one. All right, tweezers to the rescue. Let's put our big one up in this corner. Put this one over here, so cute. And then the little one down here. I love that. And then of course you want to stick your fingers in there again. Make sure that you press. All right, and here is our caramel apple pops. They're by Tootsie. I got mine at Target, and I think they work out really good. So there's our trick or treat and our boo. Now I did want to point out to you that in the tricks and treats bundle, you get a Frankie and you get the vampire. So you could do a Frankie, you could do a variety of these and have them on a tray and let people take them. Okay, you could do the Frankie, you could do the haunted house and have the ghost coming out. In the dies, you have a little ghost. You could put a ghost on there. There's also a candy corn that you assembled, which I did when I did yesterday's candy corn popcorn basket. So it shows you how to assemble this candy corn. So if you missed that video, you're going to be able to catch that at the end. I'll point it out where you can click. But you can put a candy corn on there. Just use different color backgrounds for the piece that you're using. So if you use the candy corn, maybe you do orange with black. If you use the Frankie, you do green with black. If you use the haunted house, maybe you pick purple again, or maybe you want it to be, I don't know, like an orchid color, or it's up to you, whatever you want to use for your colors. But I just want to point out that this bundle has a ghost, a Frankie, a haunted house, and the vampire. So you could do a variety of these treat lollipops, and they're very easy to find, these charm lollipops. In fact, at Halloween time at Target, you can buy them in a large bag. So this is what they look like. And this is the family pack. They also have them in a bigger pack, I believe, than this family pack. But in the grocery store, you can find these as well. They're by Tootsie, and they're called Caramel Apple Pops. So I just wanted to show you how they look. They're actually fantastically tasty lollipops as well. All right, guys, I am very happy to have spent some more time with you, and I hope that you enjoy the first project of week 4. And I will see you tomorrow. But if you missed yesterday's project, which I made a candy corn paper piece basket, it had popcorn in there, candy corn drizzled popcorn. Click right up here and you can watch that video. So thanks for being here. And if you want to see last year's week 4, there's videos right there. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!